Hi, everybody. Welcome to another fabulous episode of the GLP Support Squad, Body, Mind, and Spirit. I'm Kara Mars. Welcome. And I'm here with the fabulous Alyssa from Shore Holistic Nutrition and Wellness. And it's a beautiful fall day here at the Jersey Shore. We have had unusually fabulous weather. We haven't had rain in I don't know how long, but who knows? We just might get a whole bunch of rain at the end of the month. We don't know, but we've been enjoying it well. But I'm still wearing my pumpkin shirt because it's fall and Halloween's right around the corner, which means that's what I want to talk about today. Alyssa, can we talk about Halloween?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I want to tell you a little story. So I've been taking, as you know, I was on trizipatide since April, and then I was on that stall forever, and then I started the Modere products. They're over. There we go. Oh, that's right. There we go. I can't do backwards. I'm so dyslexic. Anyway, I started doing the Modere body transformation system. It's like an 8-week challenge. It just came out on the market. And the first week I released 7.6 pounds, something like that, having been on a stall for 2 months on the terzipatide. And this is an all natural. We have tons of videos. Just go watch them. But anyway, it's been fabulous. So one thing that I really like about this program, and I'm doing the program, is they do a 4-4-12, meaning you wait 12 hours before you have your first meal, and then in 4 hours you have your next meal, and then your next meal, and then you wait 12 hours before your next meal, which is great. But another thing is the best part is one meal a week. It's your cheat meal. It's not a cheat meal, it's a reset meal, because giving your body the extra calories that day resets the body, lets it know it's not in starvation mode. There's a whole scientific background about it. So anyway, so I get really excited about my reset meal, my cheat meal, right? So I was at a party last Sunday, and it was a birthday party, and there was birthday cake, and there was I decided to go to bring something. I decided to go to my favorite Italian bakery called Del Ponte's Bakery in Bradley Beach. Yeah, it's that good. So I got a big huge box of cookies, and I got a big loaf of bread to share, right? To share with everybody. I just wanted 2 of the cookies, and I wanted some bread, because if you're gonna do it, get it right. If you're gonna eat it, get the best, right? So I did. So I went, and I had to the party, and I ate just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, nothing crazy, but I had 2 of the cookies that were delicious, and probably 3 pieces of the bread. And then I had a donut, the apple cider donut that Alyssa brought to saying. And and I ate that, and it was great. And I didn't go crazy, but I definitely went over my calorie allotment but I had planned that. It was okay. But what happened is the next day I was craving the sugar, craving the bread, because I had been on low glycemic, right? So no bread, no pastries, none of that stuff. But it took me a good 4 days to get that out of my head, to get that taste out of my system, because when your body gets the sugar, it just wants more and wants more. And I think there's actually a physiological reason for this. Now, I think the choices that I did make, I did get it from the bakery, and I did. So I don't think there was a lot of chemicals and processed foods like the ultra processed foods. Although I'm now thinking back, I probably did have some ultra processed foods at the party, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, but Alyssa, can you give the reason, the medical reason, or the reason why the brain does this? Do you have the answers?
Yeah. So, I mean, sugar is probably the most addictive thing out on the market, and it's completely legal. And I feel like the problem with, sugar addiction is like with the I think we might have talked about this too. Not necessarily addiction, but just like we need to eat, right? So it's like, if you're addicted to something, right, like something else, you just can like stop doing that. But
Yeah, if you're addicted to alcohol, you just
yeah,
stop. I mean, you just don't stop. It's more to that. But yeah, you
no,
just don't drink alcohol anymore, right?
yeah, but like, or you just don't put yourself in like settings where like you'll feel tempted and things like that, right? But with food, it's hard because we have to eat to survive, right? So, I feel like that's really one of the hardest things with food. But back to the sugar, is that sugar is the most addictive, right, thing. And when we eat it, we want more and more and more until it's kind of like we have to go on a sugar detox. And then you'll find that you don't want the sugar, right? Your body's not craving the sugar. And I mean, that could be deeper things linked to that, such as, parasites, candida, pancreatic insufficiency, right? There's deeper root causes, even there's emotional aspects to it, but, and it affects like the neurotransmitters in the brain, like your dopamine, like that lights up that fire in your brain, and then you're not giving that. And then your brain is like, what's going on? I want that back. So yeah, it's very hard. Even me personally, like I don't eat a lot of sugar at this point, but at that party I did eat some stuff, and I struggled a lot actually the next few days because I haven't been eating that. And I was in an environment where people were like, oh, like let's go get pizza for dinner, or let's go get bagels for breakfast. And I already was like, oh yeah, like I just had sugar. So I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. And it was like convenient, right? So I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And it lasted me, like I didn't get back on track for a few days because I was put in situations, and I could have used my own sense and been like, no, no, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to eat that. But because my body was already craving the sugar, I was like, I gave it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's easy. Like, let's go have pizza. And pizza and bagels are like my top thing. I grew up
Well, you're a New Yorker.
yeah, I grew up in Staten Island. Staten Island has one of the best bagels and pizza, and you don't have to pull my leg to get me to eat pizza. So it took me a few days to really get back on track and to stand my ground. And that's another thing we can kind of talk about too, is like these outside influences, right? That are like, oh, it's fine. Like you'll just start tomorrow, right? Or what, one piece is not going to hurt you, right? I feel like people always say this, or
Especially
like,
for someone like you, because you don't have any weight to release, right? You are healthy, you run marathons, you're in great shape. So for people to like say, oh, have a piece, oh, Alyssa, you're too much, you do too much in that, you're too what that. Right. So I see that. For me, not so much. People are like, oh, she's watching her weight because she's fat. So she will, but a little bit. You're like, oh, one piece, blah, blah, blah. So we've got some major things coming. We've got Halloween in a week. We've got Thanksgiving. We've got Christmas, the holidays. We've got New Year's. We've got Valentine's Day, right? So this is the flu season, right? Is it the
mhm.
flu season or is it the sugar season?
Yeah, and then we can we can get into another topic of that. But yeah, sugar really decreases our immune system. So, I see this especially with young children right now. They're, this time like around Halloween, while and also has a lot to do with lack of vitamin D from the sun as well. So we're decreasing the vitamin D from the sun, which vitamin D is actually really important for our immune system. Plus, we're, spending more time inside, plus a lot of sugar, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and as I said, as all of these holidays are coming up, it's good, and like I feel like Christmas goes on for the whole month of December. It's not just Christmas, right? It's like Christmas like at work, they have, when I worked in the hospital, there was always, some kind of Christmas cookies out, like who brought candy that day, right? Like the Halloween candy that lasts until, Thanksgiving, right? It doesn't just go away. Even those days where I was eating more, carbs, I noticed I was holding on to way more water in my body. So just in general, when you're on this, weight journey, we want to try to, even if you're taking, peptides or whatever, you still want to, as we always say, you still want to work on your diet. You don't want to just eating garbage. Yeah. But back to ultra processed foods, since I want to touch on that a little bit, is these companies do research to how to make the food more addicting. Okay, so there's actual chemicals, right? Like even think of like Doritos, right? They have there, I believe it's like MSG is in Doritos, and that it's like addicting that you constantly want to eat more and more and more. And that's not just Doritos, but I think also like Cheetos.
Cheetos, there's no food in it whatsoever. All
Mhm.
it is chemicals. It's all
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. So just looking at what we're consuming, when I notice most people say when they consume a more whole food diet, they don't have these food cravings or sugar cravings because they're eating more whole foods. And also, generally, when you have a lot of sugar cravings, um, it's really good to eat some salt. So, Celtic sea salt is really good. You can just like put a few granules like on your tongue. That's a really easy trick. And then also you can increase your fats. Because when you eat higher fat, you're not going to crave the carbs. But yeah, so now talking more about Halloween is, always like if you're going to a party or that there's going to be things that maybe you want to eat, or I would always recommend trying to have a meal before you go, right? Because if you go to an event or a party or whatever and you're famished, you're starving, your blood sugar is going to be low and you're going to be more likely to just grab those things that, you're like, oh, there's this a cookie and there's this and that. Right. So definitely want to eat a more balanced meal before you go to any kind of event. And your food cravings will most likely be less, right? You may have more willpower to say no. Another thing to do is you can try doing like the tapping beforehand before you go, right? And just saying like reiterating your goals, right? So just tuning back to what is your goal in your weight loss journey, just in life, right? Because you want to stick with those goals.
And
And
remember that you're not going to this event if you focus on the people and the conversation and being like, I know in the past when I would go, like, oh, there's gonna be all this amazing food, there's gonna be sugar, blah, blah, blah. I mean, not that that's not what my brain said, there's gonna be sugar, but it's like, oh my God, the food is gonna be amazing, right? But now it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna get to see people. And when you're concentrating and focusing on conversation and getting to know someone, and you're not focused on more food, or where's the next hit, where's the next sugar rush, right? If you just focus, it's you have a much better time. It's like because you don't have to run and get more food and all of that stuff. So yeah, make the social event about the people, not the food, right? With
Mhm.
so many of us, so many families, it's all about the food. It's not like what are you bringing, it's like not who are you bringing, it's like what are you bringing. Well, we already have this, can you bring this instead, can you bring another pie, or right? So yeah, it's focused on that instead.
Yeah, and then, if you do go off, the rails a little bit a day, like really get back on track the next day, because as you can see with me, right? Like if you continue going, it's gonna linger and linger and linger on, and then you're gonna be off track for a month, and you're like, and then maybe gain back the weight that you worked really hard to release. So really, if
It
you
comes
go off,
back on a lot faster than it goes off. That's for sure.
yeah.
That's for sure.
Hmm.
So,
And part of that is also the water. The water weight is because you're eating more carbs, you're holding on to more to more water weight. So yeah, and just like, tune back into where you're at, your goals, and like how hard you have worked to where you got to just, some people are like, oh, like, they'll get back into like, I always do this, like they'll get into negative self-talk, right? Like, why did maybe they feel bad that they, you know, had all the
be like, oh,
food,
I'm
right?
such a loser. I can't believe I ate that, blah, blah, blah. And then I went and ate that other thing because my brain, it's okay. First of all, it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. It's
Mhm.
these companies put this in. It's not like we're getting it, it's not your fault. So make sure you understand it's not your fault. So you have to just look at it as research, right? You're a scientist, like, let's get to see what happens if I put sugar into my body. Let's see what happens. Oh, I just craved sugar for 4 days, and that was a lot to get that released, and it really messed me up. So the next time I go, I'm not going to do that. But if I do, it's okay. I'm still learning and still research. There's no like getting to the right size body. It's not like all of this is going to go away because we have Alyssa here who's in her right size body. She's still perfecting her health, but whatever. This is a lifetime thing that we have to work on. And I think people are starting to be aware that the food industry does not have our back. They just want to make more money for cheaper, right? But slowly it's coming around, and maybe in 10 years or so, our government will get on board and we can change the quality of our food. But for now, it's not your fault. It's addiction is not your fault. So just don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like if it happens, like it's okay, like release the guilt, if it's shame or whatever, whatever emotion. And that's why, the tapping is so amazing to release any of that, self-talk in your head, about like, I can't believe I did that again, like, what is wrong with me kind of thing. And yeah, so just releasing that, like, it's okay, it happened, and then move on. Like, we're gonna move on, and we're gonna get back on track. Because also I feel like this is, I feel like, more of like my my thing, but I'm more of like a parasite. In my sector, parasites contribute to a lot of our sugar cravings and even negative self-talk. So parasites can affect the neurotransmitters of our brain. And I do see parasites often associated with a lot of addictive like behaviors. Um, so when these happen, right, like even me, I'll get like negative self-talk. It doesn't even have to be about, food or whatever it is. And I'll be like, okay, that's valid, but I'm gonna think, a better thought, because I'm stronger than the parasites in my body. So it does.
Yeah, there it's and people are going to be looking at this going, what is she talking with this parasite thing? And I did that too, like a couple years ago. I'm like, Alyssa, yeah. I was like, Alyssa, I got this thing. Oh, it's parasites. I'm like, oh, stop it, Alyssa, with you and your parasites. But then as you start, it's coming to the forefront. People are like, parasites, parasites, parasites. And it's like, oh, I don't have parasites. It's like, well, if you breathe, you have parasites. If you swallow, you have parasites. So it's interesting. So it's not in the forefront right now, but watch, in 5 years, it's going to be mainstream. Everyone's like, oh, the parasites, the parasites. So you heard it from Alyssa here first. Yeah, that's it. So yeah. I
I
think
hope
though
that it's.
next
I hope
week when
it's.
Chris gets back, we'll definitely do tapping for all of this that we're talking about. Just like dedicate the entire session to let's just tap it, right? To get
Mhm.
us prepared for the holidays.
Yeah, and just like tapping of like what our, potentially what our family might say about us, or what our family might criticize our body. I feel like I deal with that a lot with my family, is that like I didn't ask for anyone's opinion on my weight, or like if I gain weight, they'll be like, "Oh, Alyssa, did you gain weight?" And I'm like, "What? Like, did I ask you for your opinion, or what's going on with my body?" So maybe we can even tap on those, because even that really affects me, because our, our our family a lot of times may not have any boundaries and think they can just talk about us and our body. And so releasing any of that too, because while these holidays are coming up, we're going to deal with more family, and people may be talking about our body or our weight, what we're putting into our mouth, what we're eating, things like that. So
And it's interesting because they don't mean any harm. They do not. No one loves us more than our family, right? But man, the triggers they can set off, it's like ah. So and it's hard because you don't want to stir up during the holidays, a big huge fight. Although it's happened in my family, right? Huge major fights, people storming out, but it is what it is. It's probably the parasites. But yeah, so this is good tapping to do to yeah, yeah. And it's almost like you need a set of rules. All right, here's the rules for the family holidays. No one's allowed to talk about body. You know, this it's all off. We can talk about life and great, and no politics, right? All that fun stuff. So yeah. So this is great because I'm going into New York today. I'm having a meal. I'm going to a Broadway show and we're having a birthday celebration. So I am going to choose, or I will choose too, not to have the dessert, right? I've already choose the fish, the branzini, you know, it's an Italian restaurant, really good Italian restaurant, and no pasta and no pizza or anything like that. But I can choose not to have birthday cake because you know what? Last week I look what happened last week. So I don't need to do it this week. You know, if I want to sell it, yeah. So or I will. And it's okay, whatever I decide. But I think that I'm gonna say, nah, I'm good, right? And not even a bite because that one little bite does it too. It's just don't do it.
Yeah, and I think we're going through it, and sometimes it takes a long time to, have these feelings over and over, and it's like, when is it going to change? Right. So like if you, say you do choose to have the cake, right? And that's okay too. But then you might deal again the next 3 days, like these constant sugar cravings. And it's like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to have that for, 5 minutes of eating cake? Where, is it worth it? So it's always, and that's why I love the tapping for that at the time, because I mean, I feel like even if you're at the moment and you're like want to do tapping, like you can just be like under the table, like in your head tapping like on something that at the time, right? So Kareh,
And
you
Chris
choose.
has some really good stuff from her first book, The Energy Healer. Like you can just go like this, the tap it right here. If you touch this,
Oh.
it's a calming. So you can be like deep in conversation, right? So she has some other tricks. We'll ask her for her tricks on what we can do. So yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, even just like under the table, like tapping your hand, or I think didn't last week we did some kind of hug, so like maybe you can even like do
Yeah.
that. Not last week, maybe it was a few weeks
And
ago, but
then yeah,
that like
when she
hug
was we
thing.
did this triple warmer. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So yeah, we're gonna attack Chris next week. Like Chris, we need the answers to this, and this. So yeah, but we're so glad that you guys are here with us. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section. And if you want to see us address some certain issues that you're going through that we can maybe talk about, just put that in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to us because it helps. And we are having a big launch that we haven't even talked about, but I had a psychic hit that it's time to launch and go public with our channel and stuff. So we have to talk about that. It's in about 3 weeks. We can do it.
Yes, and make sure you share if you know anyone, going through these issues. And then also make sure you follow you can follow me on like Instagram. It's Short Holistic Nutrition. And then Kareh just started her own page on TikTok and she's blowing up.
I
So
am like an influencer now. I started with 3 followers. Then I got 14 followers the next week, and now I'm over 150 in just 3 days. I'm like, oh, I'm so
yeah.
popular. But it's
So this
TikTok. It's
tells
just a
us that
joke.
this information is needed, right? Like people need this information, so we just need to get it out there to the people who need it. So, if
Yeah.
you know someone, share it so that we can help them, right? The tapping and just the information is really valuable. So,
Yeah. I mean, Alyssa's not cheap to go to. If you wanted a private consultation with Alyssa, she costs money. If you wanted a private consultation with Chris, she's not cheap either. She costs money. Me, you want a private conversation with me? Just take me to dinner. We're good. No, but just like, I mean, why would you want a private conversation with me other than, we can talk about being fat together. But yeah, but we're giving this for free because we want to share. That's all. And so, it is what it is. Wonder what episode number we're on. Do you have any idea?
no.
I have no idea. So thanks. We'll organize it soon. We'll get it all together and we'll have it organized for the launch.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning
Thank you for
in.
joining. See you soon next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.